remembering a piece of work I did with Skipton Building Society not long ago. And that was one where we had probably about 150 people go through a series of large group interventions, very much based around the whole scale change approach. We had a design team, we had the individual large group interventions, and within that we decided to blend in Lego Serious Play, and I really find it supercharged each event. At the beginning, the client, who's the director of that function, really was a little bit apprehensive about using Lego, and said, well, let's just try it out with this one event first of all. But partway through that first event, she was really excited by the impact of coming together as a community and the use of Lego to really bring people's voice into the room. Because there were senior leaders sat at tables with the most junior call center operators, and each of them were able to articulate quite clearly about how they think they could improve their system. And so, that experience for me really blended the whole scale change and Lego Serious Play together as really one of those powerful interventions that you can actually run in your organization.
It's just another way of enabling people to have a voice. Right? It's a creative, energizing way of ensuring that people get to express themselves, and in the process, learn a little bit about themselves and learn a lot about everybody else. Right? I think the phrase in the Whole Scale Change book, we talk about uniting head and heart. Right? We're talking about uniting head and heart. And most of our work is heady, right? In truth, what drives us is heart, right? And so, how do you do both? Yeah, because doing one without the other.
Yeah.
Well, and the joy of Lego Serious Play, Paul, is I think you do head, heart, and hands.
Yes.
And as we know, the hands know things the head doesn't realize it knows. So, and it doesn't have to be Lego Serious Play, but I think there's a physicality about some of these large group interventions and how you can set them up that also unleashes a kind of some learning. I think one of the dimensions that will be interesting to explore in the training is one of the things I've found is that because people have got so used to COVID and basically lots of people's ways of working have flipped into much more time on Teams, on Zoom, etc. Actually, when people get together in a shared space for a workshop, there's a massive release of energy and dopamine, etc. But also people are exhausted much quicker because they're not used to that way of working. And I'm wondering how, when we design things, we need to take account of the fact that people are now used to spending lots of time working in a hybrid or virtual way and less time face-to-face in meetings. And it's like a new challenge post-COVID. There's a great opportunity and need, but actually people have changed slightly the way they're used to working.
There's a book called, I think it's called Future Shock.
Yes.
By Alvin Toffler.
Alvin Toffler, yeah.
Right. And I don't remember all of his predictions, but the one you just reminded me of, Alistair, was one of his predictions was the more high tech we become, the more high touch is required.
Yeah.
And I think that's exactly, so how do technology is with us. How do we use it in order to engage those systems? But contact and connection, right? Without it, the content part doesn't really work very well, right? So it's, I think, it's the only prediction I think Toffler ever made that ever stuck with me. And, and I think it's really true, right? And it's still even more so maybe today. Those who have survived the hybrid virtual distributed workplace world survived because they had a culture of content that was connected. And people felt connected, right? And at the head and the heart. And so when you begin to use your hands, I think that's beautiful. That's really a really good point.
So this is some of the things that we'll be discussing on day 3 and getting into that open space and learning about how would you do this hybrid, how would you do it virtually, that point that Paul just made around the high tech you go, the high touch you need, and really thinking that through and what does that mean in those environments. So I'd like to invite everyone to come and join us on the 19th, 20th and 21st of June. It would be great to see you all there, to have those conversations, to learn from each other, but particularly to learn from Paul and Alistair as well with the experiences and the examples that they can bring to bear. I want to thank Paul and Alistair both for joining me and sharing their thoughts around these questions, and wish you a great day. Thank you, everyone.